Is that correct?
Well,
Or
he is that vastness and purity of the divine being, and in that sense, of course, he is the destroyer of all the.
well, I guess I'm just, yeah, I guess in that sense he is, of course. But I mean, he's not actively just doing it. I mean, he's not moving out and, actually destroying. It's almost like to me, it seems like, and I'm guessing anyway,
All
it
right,
seems like it's just time, almost as if time just destroys it all.
right. No, his very appearance destroys every darkness and every possible.
I see.
Um,
Okay.
that's very close to what Shiva is about, yeah, because his substance is of that kind of, which is destroying every possible undivine entity, yes. So the vastness of the divine and purity of the divine being. We spoke about purity, what it could be. So he either he puts everything in order, or he will demolish it, yeah? Move it away from that disorder. And movement out of disorder and putting it into proper perspective will be his presence, um, which is very dramatic for us because we are totally mixed up. That means we will not
Yeah.
recognize ourselves anymore. Um, as if around the place where the cows are stored, with the hands embracing, as if they embrace the Svar world. Yes, so as if cast around the pens of the shining herds, Suvarnaram. Um, the world, the arms encompass the world of the power of light. Suvarnaram, power of light. Suvarnara, Svar is the solar world of the truth, and the herds are the rays of its solar illuminations. Therefore, it is compared to the pens of these shining Vedic cattle. Mm.
So, but we presume that this is going on constantly, all the time.
Mm.
And also, it seems like there's a kind of a big cycle as well, where these shining, luminous capacities are more underneath and not available, or not really seen, or not. I mean, you have to. I mean, I'm guessing it. I mean, when you read the Rig Veda, when I read this, I keep thinking, well, of course, this is yeah, absolutely, this is happening. And then you kind of look around and think, wait a minute, where is it? it's it's not really evident that this is happening inside the individual, but it doesn't appear to be happening as a movement of consciousness in nature, in the world at the moment. It seems like we're in a different kind of energy than this. This seems to be what we're doing. I certainly can. This I completely understand, and these, the
Mm.
I understand this,
Me
but I
too.
don't.
I
But I
don't
don't
know
see
how
it.
I understand it. Yeah, I understand it through the presence which is growing within, from without, from above. That's how I
Absolutely.
understand it. I don't have any other understanding. Mm.
And from your lifetime, I mean, it's like a lifetime of pursuit. Um,
Right, it's my central point of my life. Right,
yeah, you've been looking at this, for this, your whole adult life.
right.
And it seems, and these are so much, these movements of consciousness are so much, a part of who we are. And this kind of flow of the Veda just illuminates or enlivens
Mm.
that that but I keep thinking, is it private? Is this private? This is a secret?
Right. It is the innermost secret, and But it is not secret for any other spiritual being or seeker. It is open for everyone. It's our innermost life. And you're talking about this pursuit or these studies of the Rig Veda. It's not private. I don't think so.
Well, but I'm thinking about this movement, this destroying of enemies.
It's personal, yes, but it is applicable to all of us. I think it works for all. If I destroy my enemies, they will be destroyed in others also.
But I mean, this hands embracing the luminous world um, of power, the luminous world of power, of the power of the light. And you know that it's there and you know that it's working, but it's hard to see that right now because it just looks like the wheel, whatever the wheel of time is turned in such a way that this luminosity is kind of, it's gone back into hiding or something.
Right. Right. And this is the central secret of the Veda, this inner light.
You
Inner
wonder,
light.
I don't think do you think Griffith saw that light? Do you think?
No, I don't think so. They don't even come close to this idea. I think that secret of the inner light was not known to any of those translators. Even those who looked into Sri Aurobindo, such as Renu, for example, or, or Gonda, who are closer to our time, they ignored that because they don't have access, they don't have interest in pursuing that in their life. There is no, how to say, there is no change in their perception or in their state of consciousness. So why should they follow it? I knew Yelizarenkova personally.
Who is it? What's the name?
Yelizarenkova Tatiana.
Tatiana Ilazarenko.
She's the translator of the whole Rig Veda and Atharva Veda, the only scholar in Russia who did the whole translation. And she's a very bright woman. But she immediately said that this is not her cup of tea. She likes poetry, and that's it.
Oh
And
my gosh.
and
How could you go through the whole of the Rig Veda and come out with that?
yeah, it did something to her. She was claiming it because it was Soviet Union, you know. You could not really go that way, but at the same time, it changed her quite a bit. She became more and more royal uh, and looking for deeper light in the word, in the expression. It was there, yeah, but not in the form of the thought or pursuit of the spirit, inner spirit, through the word, yes. So
Well, she didn't have a master then. She needed to have a master.
yes, she had wrong masters, yeah, in that sense. She had the Renu as her master, and these people never looked for this knowledge.
So, but that's what this verse is about, right? I mean, this verse is um, about that kind of exposure to these forces of light and vastness and and inner bliss. And once the exposure is there, then they get as if cast around. It gets exposed and expanded around all around the pens.
Right. Yeah.
Is there something else there that?
No, it is, yeah, this opening of the secret enclosures of light, that the inner light, which was enclosed and hidden and involved, can really flow out and and yes, illumine that inner darkness. So it's kind of a bomb within the darkness of light, which will explode with the purity and consciousness reaching out to them. When they reach out into the depth of our darkness, there will be a response coming from within of those hidden treasures within us.
Well, I'm wondering, to get to those hidden places, It seems like there has to be, like you had this for years, where you have to sit there where you just have to remove yourself from the fluctuations of the world in order to be able to. I mean, I don't think that that's what the Rig Veda exhorts human beings to live like that, unless that's your inclination. But it seems like it doesn't say this, in this verse anyway, that you have to remove yourself from the workings of the world in order to be able to find that. But I think you do.
Yeah, partially you must do it, otherwise you will
For
be
some period of time, sometime.
exactly. You have to be less active in the world, definitely, otherwise you will be just engaged in the world. That was what Sri Aurobindo was saying to Pavitra, who asked him whether I should stop reading and meeting people. He said, there is no harm in reading or meeting people, but you have to be less engaged with the world if you want to succeed in a perception of things.
For a while.
For a while, correct.
For a while, but I mean, how are we going to do the transformation or the sacrifice if we're not engaged with the world?
Correct, absolutely. But first the contact has to be established, and
you have to find that luminous word.
Right.
You have to find it somehow. By the way, I was going to tell you, I don't know if I can order this for you. I got a book for Christmas called the Flow of Consciousness. And it's a book of quotes from Maharishi on literature and language.
Oh,
and he talks quite a bit about the Vedas in here.
You can send me the link. I can find the book then.
Well, it's published in the U.S. Can I get it sent there, maybe?
Oh, yeah, but it is possible. There is not
it says enliven. This talk was enlivening consciousness, the common basis of all language, the ground for perfect communication. I don't know. I just thought it sounded like something, since we're both very interested in language. Sure. I thought you would appreciate.
I would appreciate very much, because Maharshi's insight is very luminous.
He was so brilliant. He was so brilliant. And I mean, he wasn't ever, an intellectual ever like Aurobindo. And he was much more, utilitarian and very pragmatic kind of a teacher, but very brilliant and very exceedingly respectful of the role of the Veda in education and in establishing consciousness, and how he called Rig Veda the constitution of the universe. And which he understood that these words and this language and these cognitions were great beings observing themselves and seeing their consciousness interacting with itself in these perfect expressions, which give rise to the entire orderliness of creation. And I thought that was, he certainly led me to this. So I'm grateful for that. And I think you would have, he's not going to ever, because of you're very intellectually oriented and that's why Aurobindo turned out to be the perfect, teacher for you. But I think you would appreciate some of these writings.
Of course. Ramakrishna, for example, is moving me also very much, because he was far from being intellectual.
No, different kind of approach altogether.
Right. Yeah,
but Ramakrishna was not a Vedic scholar either, was he?
Correct. That's the difference. Yes, he had just his realizations, which are avataric.
It was almost like it was accidental for him. It was almost like he because of his sanctity and his purity, he just kind of slipped into it. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yes, yeah. Well, accidental is also accidental word.
Yeah, wrong word.
Yeah, well, it can say something that it wasn't really that he was looking for it, yes. But
Well, that means it has a randomness to it, and I think there's,
it
as you
happened
point,
to him, yes.
there's no randomness in the universe at all.
In this case, especially, yes, correct. He was ready for it, yes. And that's why it happened to him. Or the divine opened up or bestowed grace upon him or something.
So here, yeah, that I'm always looking at these verses and remembering that, of course, these great seers, these great rishis, like as you pointed out, they don't talk about gaining illumination because they already come to this with that. They're, I mean, the rishis are not gods, right? They're not devata, and
They are
they're
more than,
certainly not ordinary humans, although they were, many of them, married and had children and had lives that were not, scholarly.
right. I think they are much more than even gods. It's another type of action which is sacrificial. Without rishis, the sacrifice cannot be done. The gods cannot come and widen the consciousness or illumine the consciousness. It is because of rishis that is done. They are the agents. They are the transformers. They bring the gods in. And into our human consciousness and into their nature. Because of rishis, we can do this. If rishis would not be there, the forces would stay separate from us, and we would never.
Is it because they heard the words, because of Shruti?
Yeah, because these agents, yeah, these actors, they have connections, and through their consciousness, they bring the devatas into action, and we can benefit from it also and do the same. We follow them. They are there to lead us on the way. Otherwise, how would these gods come to us at all if they would not do it in the first place?
Right. How would they indeed? I mean, but that because of the way that the way that creation created itself, and the way that the mercy of the divine is there, if it wasn't this way, there would be some other way.
Oh, yeah, there would be some other rishis. Yes, yeah, you're right.
Or some other means besides rishi,
Correct.
besides.
We would call rishis by some other name or some other form, or would be created, which rishis now play for us as intermediaries or the leaders on the path.
So do you feel like it's almost, you keep thinking there shouldn't have to be an intermediary. I mean, this is like the Buddhists, there shouldn't have to be an intermediary between the individual and the divine. But somehow it always seems like there has to be. It seems like there needs to be some intermediary somehow, because we're coming from our state of consciousness, and the divine is so secret and all pervading and unmanifest. And
Right.
so, I mean, how would we ever come to this realization that even in this verse, which is seen on the surface, seems pretty straightforward,
Mm,
but how would we even understand this if we didn't have an intermediary, like a
right.
rishi or a guru? Or
Correct. There is a very low probability in this infinite, possibilities, the world of infinite possibilities, to come to this particular path. Um, so, if they would not be engaged actively in creating these paths within us, within our consciousness, and we are engaged with them for a long, long time, many, many millions and billions of years, we are doing this work. So these paths are already, and these rishis are representatives of that light, basically, the active representatives. And they, in the Rig Veda, everybody can be called a rishi, not only human beings.
could you adjust your screen a little bit downwards, so that, because there, because the sign with your name on it is obscuring your face.
All right.
Thank you.
And yes, all the rishis are, yes, in the Rig Veda you find that rishis are not only Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, or Atris in this case, they are also gods. Indra can be rishi or
Right.
Varuna. Why? But because they speak. When they speak, when they bring this word, and this word is activation or activation of consciousness, then they become rishis. So the rishi power is in activating these forces of consciousness within
Or
us.
it's the bridge, right? They're bridging their
Right.
world or their exalted consciousness with
Yeah.
the active kind of mixed up thing that we.
Right. So it's an expression of inner consciousness. The word is an expression. Yeah? The luminous word, or what is this, flaming words, they are the aspirations towards a higher consciousness, which will be answered. And these are rishis. They are bringing these powers into motion. And we are obliged to them by everything. They are there.
So this illumining word, is this Vivasu?
No, it's
Vishvasu?
Rik, Archate is here again. So,
Archate. Archate. Okay.
Tabahavasu chetuna prayantamasma archate shivam hijariyam vam vishvasu kshasu joguve. Stretch out your arms of awakened knowledge to the human being when he chants to you the illumining word. This is that.
So Archate is that like oddity? Is that like
No, it is from Rig Veda.
rich, rich?
Oh. And from here, Arka. Arka has two meanings, the hymn and the sun, luminosity and the word. Then your
So,
bliss adorable shall reach through all our earths. This is what it invokes. It is an invocation of the divine involved to the divine which wants to be manifested.
say that again, please.
The divine involved is calling or invoking the divine which wants to be manifested, wants to get involved. So
So the
the
divine involved, does that mean that the divine that is in every molecule and in everything? Is
nature
that what the
everywhere.
divine involved means? The divine that is the aspect of divine which is present in everything?
It's the soul which is emerging out of the darkness. It is
Ah,
that evolutionary soul which is rising in us, which wants to manifest. And but it needs new, fresh forces. It needs to take care of all that darkness around us. And with its light, it calls for those greater forces which are uninvolved, as it were, but they get involved to help this rise of new consciousness. So this is the sacrifice.
so I want to ask a question that's going to get into a little bit of a funny place, but
Okay.
this is making me wonder about it. So obviously the divine that all, Islam and Judaism and all these, it's the same divine, but it seems like it's kind of mucked up with some other stuff, social things and environmental things and all these rituals and everything. It seems to me, and I mean, I'm imagining it. I just want to hear what you think about it because, it seems like the Vedic path through the consciousness of the rishis, of the movements of the divine, this is the only one on earth that I've been exposed to that I see that seems to be completely without um, without the kind of mud mixed in that a lot of the other religions have or the other paths have, and
Mm.
even stuff from India. is
Mm,
completely gommed up with all kinds of other
mm,
nonsense. And I mean, I'm not holding you to this because we're in a vault here, the Julia Vladimir
mm,
vault. But it seems to me that this is the only path
mm,
on earth that's available to man, ordinary man, or not so ordinary man, even the Brahmins and whatnot. But it seems like this is the only thing that isn't gommed up with other stuff.
mm.
Do
Well,
you think that?
I think that the religions, of course, they dressed their knowledge more and more into some kind of dogmatic and ritualistic form.
Politics.
Yeah, ritualistic form, which was creating cultures of these people. Yeah, and this culture is about cult. Yeah, repetition of the same. Sunday you go to church and you do the same and same, and your ancestors and your children, so your grandchildren will follow the same path. So it creates a very sophisticated and thick layer of repetition, which we call culture. It brings art into it, poetry into it, music into it. Everything is becoming more and more, how to say, mm, illumined or um, oriented towards some deeper sense of our life. Yeah? And that creates culture. So in a way, it has very positive and very powerful effect on our development in general. And it doesn't demand from you to be spiritual or to find yourself. It is slowly suggesting that it is there. So when you are ready, you may turn towards it and become more.
I
Um,
think it's very demanding. All of those religious procedures and everything, they're extremely demanding. I don't see it's very laissez-faire in that way. It seems like if you don't do this, then you're going to go to hell. You're
well,
going to be swallowed up, and you're going to be an infidel, and you're going to be, burned in some ghastly.
yes. Well, some people, yes, have a tendency to exaggerate things and demand more attention to their dogmas than others. And of course, in today's world, there is no such great demand from rational people. There is democracy, so you can choose the way you want it to be and the way much you want to be engaged into religion.
But
And
this seems so pure. This seems so, even though it's all couched in this kind of poetic language,
oh,
and
this
but
is uh, this is not even religion for me. It's something. Though Sri Aurobindo somewhere says that it is Vedic religion, but very rare he says this word. I don't think it's even well.
no,
If
it's not religion, but it's a like what you were just saying. The rishis are creating this connection between um, what is desired and what is actually manifested.
right, but if you look at the present religion, Hinduism today, and what Brahmins are doing with these texts, you will see clearly religion. There will be very little of it, of that luminous information which we want to get out of it, or presence of consciousness. It would be more relating to the form, to the cult, yeah, to the dogma,
But I
without
mean,
knowing what it means even.
but Rig Veda is a part almost because there's all these procedures and everything that are prescribed by other parts of the Veda, right? Atharva Veda and Yajur Veda.
Sure.
They do have structure and what is it, Karma Mimamsa and all of those other kinds of works that talk about the
Purvamimamsa. Yes, they have. They have this, that is the development of the religion. Exactly these Uttara and Purva Mimamsa, or all the Brahmanas,
Brahmanas.
which are assigning these texts to rituals. And there we have already something else. These texts they lose their independent value and become totally engaged into something else, into dogma and vision of some other vision, Brahmanic vision, which is also great,
It
which
is.
creates a profound culture. Um, but
But
it is
this
not
is so
as great
pure.
as this one. That's right.
Very, I mean, in some way, I mean, maybe it isn't, but it seems so straightforward to me, at least in the sense of it evokes exactly the awakened consciousness just by engaging with it. It just kind of, it, anyway, that's what it seems to me. It's
Yeah,
very easy.
I totally agree with you. I have the same feeling and a sense of the Veda. That's why I am with Veda, not with any other dogma, trying to figure out. But when I project the Vedic knowledge, the vision of the Veda or the sense of it onto other religions, even those which are far away, such as Christianity or even Judaism with its Kabbalah and so on, I find similar, how to say, attempts to discover that knowledge. And I can kind of penetrate through the dogma and look into the fundamentals. I can see them there.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, I agree. No, I agree. But
But I
for
need this
example,
light. I need
but
this
this you don't
light.
have to filter. I
Mm.
feel like when you're reading the Veda, you don't have to filter. You don't have to exert your awareness to try and yeah. Have you ever seen that Bible? It's called the Red Letter Bible,
No.
where it's a King James version, but they've printed all the things that were supposed to be direct quotes of Jesus Christ in red.
Oh.
And the rest of it is just, I guess, stuff that has been added or manipulated or transformed by the church or King James or somebody who is using the Bible
Mm.
to to control people's
Mm.
movement of consciousness. But
Mm.
this doesn't seem like it requires any filtering or I mean it requires what we're doing, I think, is to try and somehow connect to the words that the rishi has
Mm.
expressed in order to be able to enliven that consciousness. But
1 second. Can I just yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
you must be so distracted. I keep looking at you. See, there's people and
No,
all around.
she was no, there's a dog here, and there's music in the next room, but it doesn't distract me at all. It was just to say bye or hi to the person who came, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just
So
now
should we go
somebody
to the?
came.
Do we have time for the next one?
Yeah. Ta
Unless
bhavasu chetuna prayantamasma archate shivam hijaryam vaham vishvasu kshasu jogove. Stretch out your arms of awakened knowledge to the human being. When he chants to you the illumining word, your bliss adorable shall reach through all our earths, through all those manifested levels in the mind, in the vital, and in the physical. The bliss will reach. It will be felt physical. And both for those far-reaching hands of yours, perfectly conscious, stretch forth for the one who flames in the prayer of aspiration. So literally be the answer to this aspired consciousness of of the human being, or the Yajamana, the one who calls to to these forces to continue the transformation of the being. Your loving intimacy should constantly sound, echo and re-echo, vibrate, be present as active awareness of all the levels of our being, on all the
All
levels.
the levels. So what is that echo and re-echo? What words are those?
Jariyam, so to say, be yes, spoken literally, or intimacy, or praising, yeah. Joguve, echo and re-echo, it is joguve. It is the intensive from gu to call.
Oh, from Gu.
So gu, gavate, to sound, intensive, joguve, here it is written, to cause to sound, to proclaim. So since it is intensive, it means that it should sound again and again, or intensely more and more.
So here you say Jogu is praising.
Joguve. What do you say?
I'm looking at the vocabulary.
No, I said should constantly sound, echo and re-echo. This is the translation. Yeah?
From Gu.
Yes, Joguve is your loving intimacy. That is Shevam Jariyam Vam. Vishvasukshasa, on all the levels, Joguve should vibrate, should be present, should be felt.
So all the levels, again, is that all the levels
Yes.
is what? Which word?
Vishvasukshasa, on all the levels.
Vishva. So Vishva.
Vishva is all, Ksha is level.
Vishva. Oh, Kshasu.
Yes, this is locative plural. Vishvasukshasa.
Yeah, Vishva. Okay. Okay.
Yes, so all our earths, and Shobinda gives a note here, and two notes. They repeated 39 first. It is awakened knowledge. Stretch out your arms of awakened knowledge. Suchetuna. The epithet shows how entirely symbolic are the bodies and members of the gods, as well as their other physical belongings, weapons, chariots, horses. If their hands are of this kind, yeah, of the suchetuna, of the perfect consciousness, hands of perfect consciousness, how it can be? What kind of hands are these? Yeah?
Well, I mean, do we think that from the Veda that that man is made in the image of God? Because then we can kind of somehow make sense of that.
Yeah, but he is Varuna's and Mitra's hands, yes, of course. And all the planes of our being, yes, it is on all the levels. These are the earths on which we dwell and live and manifest.
But when they say all the levels, we're talking about vital and breath, prana, and koshas and
No, we mean three
dhatu.
earths, basically three ksha, or three earths. Mm, and these three earths is the
Physical, mental, vital.
correct mental, vital, and physical. Yeah. So we have three physical earths. So maybe it means even something more. Maybe it means all the koshas. Yeah, could be.
Well, and the doshas. What it's got to be that. I mean, even those things have to have. I mean, has to have the divine structure somehow in all these different layers. Somehow.
Yeah, what I like here is this Joguve word, which means should sound and resound on all the levels. This blissful or loving intimacy or expression, would say Jarya. Um, um, because this is Jarya is something which is to be praised. Yeah, that blissful thing which is to be praised or expressed, that which is to be expressed in the most loving or joyful way, should sound and resound on all the levels of our being.
But if it sounds and resounds, then something about time is invoked there. Something
Definitely.
about, about it progressing from one sound to the next sound.
Well, or regressing, but still, it should not just be the event of one kind. It should have an effect. It should penetrate deep and make it more supple, that the next time the sound will be more pervading and more in a greater resonance with our being. So our being gets more and more into resonance with the divine.
So there's a kind of inevitability about that word, Jogure.
I think so. And it is intensive, and in this sense, it's quite interesting because it is intensive means a repetitive or constant action of the same. So,
Is it a case intensive? I've never heard of the intensive.
oh yeah, but you didn't come to that level yet. It is at the end of grammar we study all those desertative, intensive. Intensive is a reduplicative form, which first part is always having a guna or vriddhi. So
Does it have a guna? It has guna. Perfect.
yeah, in the reduplicative part, it's only this intensive which has this. Otherwise, you will never have guna or vriddhi in the reduplication. But you will come to it at the end.
Oh yeah, I will. But thanks for that. We're on prayogas now.
Well, yeah, great. These forms, here you can find joguve or joguvana as a participle. They are actually used mainly in these texts. You will hardly find them anywhere, or very rare you find them in classical Sanskrit, because you don't need this intensive action much.
Why?
I don't know. It becomes more analytic, more mental, less synthetic, as it were. Here there is a need of synthetic language. There it is more analytic. Sanskrit becomes more and more analytic till modern times, where it is totally analytic and it becomes some kind of hybrid Sanskrit of Buddhist and Jainist literature, which is very different from, very simple and closer to Hindi in a way.
Well,
But
I have to, one doesn't really like that, but you have to, it's like I had somebody the other day say, oh, technology is so evil and you should stay away from it. And it's like, well, you know what? This is what's happening. This is where we are right now. You can't just ignore something like that.
right, correct.
You can't pretend like it isn't created by the divine, just like everything else.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, we are following it anyhow. We can't do otherwise. We are speaking analytic language, which is English, and English is totally analytic.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But Sanskrit, this type is synthetic. Okay, and the third one, Yanunam Ashiyam Gatim, Mitrasya Yayam Patha, Asya Priyasya Sharmani, Ahimsanasya Sashchire. May I go by the path of the friend, that even now I may attain to the goal of my journey. So men cling firmly to the bliss of that beloved in whom there is no wounding.
So that's the second time in this verse where he's talking about no wounding.
Mm.
That's Mitra.
Ahimsa nasya sashchire. So
No,
if I shall reach today the goal, then may I walk it by the path of Mitra, maybe not by the path of Varuna, in the safe place of this beloved, who does no harm. Men seek their refuge and oneness.
well, that's certainly not this world.
Yeah. If I shall reach today the goal. So let it be the through consciousness and friendliness, and not through destruction of all my anxieties and all my being here, because it resists the change. And let us go through the positive, luminous part of ourselves to reach the goal. Yeah, it is very literally is this yan nunam, and if today ashiyam I will reach gatim, the goal. Mitrasya yayam patha, may I go by the path of Mitra. Asya priyasya sharmani, in the protection of this beloved one. Ahimsanasya, who is not hurting. Sashchire, may I come together with him, or be accompanied by him, or you see, associated or united with him.
Is that in the vocabulary?
Yeah,
That's
it is here.
Sasht. United with. Okay.
Right.
Well, yeah. I have some questions about. I mean, it's certainly a nice vision, but I wonder if that's possible even.
Well, that's the desire of the rishi, or the quest. May I? Yeah? That means it's an invocation in this way. Whether it will be this way, we do not know. Most probably, it will be many ways, one of which will be this. Okay, we can stop here for today, and maybe start with this again if you have some ideas from this verse next time.
Yeah, well, I'd like to. Yeah, I never think about the rishis just having wishful thinking. This they seem so
Why not?
and authoritative.
They offer the path. They think that it could be possible, but they can just request. We are here only to ask. Okay, we can close with the mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratishthitam, mano me vachi pratishthitam, avirāvirmaedi vedasyama ani sthaha, shrutam me ma prahasi, anenadhitena horatran sandadhami, Ritam vadishyami, satyam vadishyami, tanmamavatu, tadvaktaramavatu, avatu mam, avatu vaktaram, avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you so much, Vladimir. Beautiful morning. Well, I guess you have meeting with your family now.
No, I will have another class. They left already, so it's good. Mm. All right. Okay,
All right.
see you. And
See you.
Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy New Year. Yeah. I think it's going to be a better year.
Should be. At
Yeah.
least one year can be better. Mm.
Easier.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Bye for now, Vladimir.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.